Okay, in our previous discussion video, we have discussed the different etiquettes and malware that might affect our computer system po. So for today, we're going to start discussing the computer website, which later on you're going to create your own website po. But first, we need first to know what is a website and how to create a website. So for our objective, we have the first, describe the website and its type. Second, learn how to plan a website. So before creating a website, we need first to plan. Okay, plan in order for us to make our website more efficient. Okay, and effective, of course. So our process question that we need to answer during and after this session is that why is a web browser important? Okay, ano nga ba ang kahalagahan ng web browsers po? Reminder, there's a big difference between web browsers and a website po. So, ang discuss natin ngayon is how to plan a website and we're going to focus on the different computer website. Hindi na po natin masyadong i-discuss ang web browser kasi nga po familiar na po tayo sa iba't ibang web browser and it is included to your module po. Example of web browser is no other than the Internet Explorer and we have also the Google Chrome which is usually na ginagamit natin in order for us to uh, get inside of our cyber space. So, let's start discussing the different types of websites. So, we have four. So, for the first type, we have the personal. Second is non-profit. The third is business. And of course, the fourth will be the government website. So, let's start discussing the first one, which is a personal website, which is owned by an individual with the purpose of personal expression and publication. So this personal website, it is used for personal only. So ikaw po ang bahala kung ano ang magiging content ng iyong website. It can be about yourself or it can be about your favorites and so on and so forth po. Basta ang purpose po nito, it is to show your personal expression po. So that is the purpose of personal website. For the second type of website is no other than the non-profit website. So non-profit website is owned by an individual, groups, or organization who launch their website usually with the purpose to help others. Reminder, the purpose to help others. So, ang purpose ng mga organizations or group na may-ari ng ganitong website is to help others. Okay? And not expecting monetary or financial returns. So, kahit walang bayad na maibabalik sa kanila, basta ang purpose nila is tumulong sa iba. Okay? So, that is the purpose of this organization who use non-profit website. So, through this website, nakakatulong sila sa iba't ibang tao. Okay? So, of course, the website is used for connecting others from one places to another places. Kaya nakakatulong din po ang website which is non-profit website. For the third will be business website which is owned by an individual, group, or organizations whose purpose is to offer products and services. So since this is for business, their purpose is to offer their products and to offer their services for certain fees. So itong mga to is may bayad po. Ito yun na yung tinatawag nating mga advertisement. Example of business website is no other than ito yung mga Lazada, Lazada.com, the Shopee, and other uh, website which their purpose is to offer offer their products and services. Okay? So, tinatawag natin sila ang mga business website. We have also the government website. For the government website, it is owned by the government and departments to facilitate their service dealing with their citizens. Okay, so government website, ito yung isang paraan nila para makatulong, okay, para ma-facilitate or makapag-serve sa kanilang mga citizen. Example of government website, ito yung parang mga DSWD website, DepEd website, and others. Doon nila ipinopost yung mga announcement nila, yung mga requirements, and others in order for them to serve their citizens, in order for them to serve their people, okay, and facilitate their people. Okay, so that is government website. Ito yung mga may mga .gov, .ph, and so on and so forth. Okay, now, those are the four types of website. We have the personal, the non-profit, the business, and of course, the government website. So the question now is, how are you going to create your own website? First, plan first your website. So why do we need to plan our website? To lessen po the different errors or bugs na pwede nating ma-encounter while doing or creating our website. So planning a website should answer the following questions. So we have 5 questions. For the first question, why are you creating this website? This question should answer how necessary your website is. Gaano nga ba ka-importante ang iyong website? Bakit mo nga ba ginagawa itong website na to? Okay? And second question, what is the purpose of your website? So the first question has a relation with the second question. So kung yung first question, bakit mo gagawin yung website? Dito naman, anong purpose mo? Bakit mo gagawin or anong purpose ng iyong website? Okay, para saan ang iyong website? So this question should answer the goal of your website. So in this question, you're going to identify your goals. Why are you creating your website? So what will be the goal of your website? The third question, who are your target audience? So this question should determine your primary audience. So if your audience is school, then if your website is for school, then your audience should be the teachers and the students and the other visitors of the school. If your website is for business, then your target audience should be the different people or customer. Okay, customer that might buy your product. Okay, so yun po si um, target audience. So sino-sino nga ba ang mga audience natin? Okay, so you need to identify that also. And next question is that, for the fourth question, what are the requirements of this website? So once nasagutan mo na yung tatlong question, this time, you need to identify the requirements for your website. So dito na tayo magko-collect. Okay? Magko-collect ng mga iba't ibang information or photos or mga images na kailangan nating ilagay sa ating website. So you will need to determine the requirement to build your site. So, such as, yung mga information na ilalagay natin or di kaya yung mga tawag nito, pictures or images na ilalagay natin, yung mga appropriate images, yung mga appropriate designs, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is the requirement that we need to determine and we need to collect in order for us to make our website more efficient and effective also. And last question, how will my website look like? This question should tell you how your site will look when it is finished. So, ano nga bang magiging itsura ng website natin? So, you're so lucky kasi nowadays there are different templates that can use or that can be used to make your website more fancy. So, if you are aware with the wix.com, madaming mga templates doon na pwedeng gamitin para sa pagpapublish ng mga website. And wix.com is also a web hosting for website po. Okay, so later on we're going to discuss what is a web hosting, which is this one. Okay, so there are different type of web hosting. So we have 3. For the first web hosting, we have the free web hosting. But before we proceed to the different type of web hosting, ano nga ba talaga ang web hosting pala? So once we said web hosting, these are the space that can occupy. So ito yung space na pwede nating i-occupy sa ating internet. So iba pa po yung web hosting at sa internet. So without the web hosting, wala tayong or hindi tayo magkakaroon ng space sa ating internet. Okay, so later on may papakita akong video sa inyo for better understanding about web hosting. So this time, I'm just going to introduce to you the 3 types of web hosting. So for the first type, we have the free web hosting. The second type, we have the shared web hosting. The third type, we have the paid web hosting. So actually, lahat ng mga web hosting, they are all paid. Meron lang yung mga ibang web hosting na free. So web hosting is used para magkaroon tayo ng space sa ating internet. So without the web hosting, hindi po maipapublish ang ating website sa ating internet. Hindi po mailalagay ang ating website sa internet. Okay? So napaka-importante ni web hosting kasi siya ang hahawak ng iyong website. Okay? So later on, maintindihan yun mamaya through the video. Okay. So before we proceed to the video, let me explain first the domain name para hindi na natin babalikan mamaya. So once we said domain name, it is a design name which will eventually become your address and is managed by a domain registrar so that no duplication happens. So domain name, ito yung pangalan ng iyong website and later on magiging address. Okay? Address ng iyong website. Okay? So example of the domain name is no other than the google.com, the facebook.com, the twitter.com, and the tiktok.com. So as you can see, itong pangalan na to, ito yung tinatawag nating domain name. And this is the name of your website. And it is also known as the address of your website. So yun po siya. Okay, for better understanding, let's go back to the web hosting. Pinahapyaw ko lang po yung domain name. So, once we said web hosting, these are the rented space, nirerentahang space para maipublish ang ating website sa internet. Okay, and of course, for better understanding about the difference between internet and web hosting.
What is web hosting? It may seem quite technical, complex, and maybe even intimidating, but don't worry, it's actually quite simple. Let's start with something you're more familiar with, a website. Firstly, let's imagine you ask a web designer to design a website for you. At this early stage, the website files are only stored on the web designer's computer, not the internet. The next crucial step would be for all your web files to be uploaded to a server which is connected to the internet. When all your web files are uploaded to your server, then you'll have a website which people will be able to see. When you rent space on a server from a company like EasySpace, then this is what we call web hosting. There are 3 main types of web hosting that you can choose from. 1. Shared hosting. 2. Virtual servers. And 3. Dedicated servers. Shared hosting is like paying rent to live in an apartment. Compared to other types of web hosting, shared is the cheapest and is where most websites live. Like an apartment, it comes with all the basics like email, WordPress, etc., tools that enable you to easily run a website on your own. However, keep in mind that when you live in an apartment, you share the facilities with lots of other tenants or other websites. What you do can affect everybody else. If your website becomes popular and gets lots of traffic, lots of visitors, then it's possible that the apartment manager will suggest you move elsewhere. The second type of hosting is a virtual server. Compared to an apartment, this could be thought of as a townhouse. It's larger, you have more rooms, more space, and more control than shared hosting. Again, you share the property and its facilities, such as processor usage, but it has fewer residents. You have more control, and the rooms are soundproofed. So if you get lots of visitors, lots of traffic to your website, then everything will be easier. The third type of hosting is a dedicated server. This is like being the king of your own castle, and you are in charge. You can paint the walls whatever colour you want, build a pool or a tennis court. In hosting terms, this would be like you buying as many computing resources as you can afford to look after. Dedicated servers are often favoured by big businesses with popular websites. They're more complex to manage, but they are much more powerful. You will have a huge amount of space, so as long as you can cope, then you can have as many visitors as you want. Well, that's web hosting. Renting space on a server which connects your website to the internet. Easy. So whether you need web hosting for a small one-page website or a large complex online store that'll get millions of visitors, then contact EasySpace today.
Okay, Easy Space is also an example of web hosting. So they offer a server or your space on a server, then they are going to connect to the internet, or they are going to put your website to the internet. Okay, so they are the manager of your website, and of course the owner of your website will be you as the developer of your website. So later on in our week number 4, we're going to create our simple website using HTML, wherein we are going to use the notepad inside of our computer po. Okay, so let's go back to our process question a while ago. So our process question is that why is a web browser important? So reminder, web browser and website is different. So web browser is used to show website. It is used to display a website. An example of web browser is none other than it is included to your module that the Internet Explorer, the Google Chrome, the Mozilla Firefox, and other web browser that can display our website po. So, the question is that, why is a web browser important?